Today, we're again talking about how to overcome obstacles that get in your way of achieving your goals. So today I want to share with you the obstacles that I've encountered and have kind of gotten in my way of one of the other goals that I set for myself for this year. And that's the goal of learning how to play the piano. So playing the piano is something that I have thought about doing for some time, but have not ever really made it a priority or set it as a goal, as something that I wanted to accomplish. But again, I want this year to be an amazing year. I want to be able to look back on this year and say, wow, I accomplished a lot of things and a lot of big things and things that I didn't know how I was going to accomplish it. And my hope is that as you follow me along in this journey, that this will increase the belief that you have in yourself to do some of those things that maybe you think that you can't do in your life, and that you'll be willing to put those goals out there and strive towards achieving them. And again, I know that in doing this, I'm putting myself out there. Maybe it's going to be a big flop. I don't know for sure how it's going to go. I'm working really hard on just being vulnerable and honest with you and sharing my experience. And this one today, you're probably going to go, Randy, you're an idiot about some things, because when I share with you this, some of you will go, it's just so obvious, how do you let that happen? So anyway, I made the decision that I was going to learn to play the piano. So my wife, Tony, she plays, and that's part of the reason why I think I wanted to learn, is because I like listening to her play, and she has a good voice and she will sing and play. And I don't have a good voice, but I thought, well, maybe if I can learn to play the piano, then I can do something musical. The first time that we sat down and she showed me what to do. So she got a book for me, a learner's book. She showed me, where to put my hands. So it's middle C, I think is what it's called. And you put your two thumbs together on the C key, and then your fingers are, so it goes C, D, E, F, G. And then this one goes C, B, A, G, F, or F, G. I don't even remember. And then the book that she gave me, it shows the keys. It shows which keys are which notes and where your hands are. You can sit in front of the piano. You can look down at your hands. You can look up at the book and see what it is. And then the notes, have both the notes and they have numbers. So all kinds of help so that you can figure out and know which keys, to touch. So the first couple of times that I practiced, I really liked it. And I thought, this is kind of fun. I can actually follow along, and if I make a mistake, I can figure out what the mistake is. I can change it, I can repeat it, practice again. And even though they were sounds that it's not a tune or anything that I recognize, you can hear it and you just know that, oh, that sounds really good. And so I was excited, and I thought, this is going to be cool. It's going to be fun. I'm going to learn how to play the piano. About the fourth lesson, then we turn the page, and instead of putting my hands together on middle C, now I have to move my one hand. Now this hand is over here on C, this thumb is on C, this thumb is on C. There's a couple of keys in the middle with no fingers on. Okay, now I have to remember, this hand and this hand. And then I started thinking, because I looked a little bit further on in the book, and then I asked Tony and I said, wait a minute, there's a time when I'm going to have to play both hands at the same time. So I'm going to have to know which fingers, which keys to hit with this hand, which keys to hit at this hand at the same time. Not just hold my hands in one place, but I'm going to have to move them and know what all of the, 88 keys or however many there are on a piano. And all of a sudden, I kind of got overwhelmed. I'm not that coordinated. I can't do this hand and this hand at the same time and remember which keys. So all of a sudden, what I thought was going to be easy and fun turned out to be, you know what, this is going to be work. I'm going to have to put some effort into this. I'm going to have to really work on memorizing, you know, what the keys are, and I'm really going to have to practice. Because of that, my desire to play the piano started to go down because I had created this belief in my head about what the experience was going to be like. So here's one of the things that I think is a big obstacle. I know it is for me, maybe for you, which is anytime that we decide to do something, we have an idea in our head of what it's going to take in order to accomplish that. And when it turns out to be different than what we expect, then that's oftentimes when we begin to doubt. Because in our mind, we have this thought that we know what it's going to take. We know what it's going to be like. Even when we don't know, I think we still think we know. So we have an idea still of, well, I don't know exactly what it's going to be like, but part of me still thinks, but it will be okay. You know, it's not going to be extremely hard. It's not going to be extremely difficult. It'll be something that I can do. And then as soon as it turns out to be something different than we have in our mind, then oftentimes that's when we just quit. So that's a belief, remember? And it's our beliefs that drive our behavior. So anytime that we think that life should be a certain way and then it's not, oftentimes we want to focus on life and say, well, life is wrong. But no, life is what it is. And so when we argue against life and say it shouldn't be that way, well, we're arguing with what is, because it is that way. Again, I believe the primary reason for setting goals is for us to learn and to grow, to improve and to develop who we are. And again, this whole series is really about learning to self-govern and self-mastery and overcoming whatever it is that life is going to put in our way, because that's where true growth comes from, and that's where becoming comes from. I probably would have just let the piano slide without even consciously thinking about it, until, again, thank goodness for David Goggins' book, Can't Hurt Me. And as I was listening to that, it just dawned on me, and this is where it's like, Randy, how come you don't get this? That's the way it's supposed to be. If everything was easy for us, then there would be no value in doing anything. And anything in life, we have to go through that process of learning. It's too bad that none of us can remember what it was like learning to walk. Because if you think about it, that's probably one of the hardest things that we ever had to learn. In fact, most of the learning that we do during those first 3 years of our life, it's amazing what we do. We're born into this world and we can't even control our muscles. We can't make our hands do what we want them to do, or our legs. We can't hold our head up. We can't do any of those things. But we spend all of our time learning, and we have to learn how to make those connections from our brain to our muscles, so that when the brain sends a message to our muscles respond, and we're able to get our body to do the things that we want to do. So think about learning to walk. So I first need to learn how to move the muscles in my legs. Then I need to learn how to balance. And then I need to learn how to take steps. Buckminster Fuller says that we're all born geniuses, and then life de-geniuses us. So when we're born, we probably don't know that there's such a thing as failure. We don't know any of those things that we learn as we get older and grow through life. We're just like, I want to do this, and I don't even know why we want to do it, but there's something that innate, I guess, that says, I want to learn how to do this. But then we're also in an environment, or at least most of us were in an environment where we had a lot of support and encouragement. So anytime we began to make any kind of progress, we have parents or guardians, caretakers, who were there to support and encourage us. And maybe the first time that we stand and balance for just a second, we get smiles and we get claps and we get all kinds of praise, and that feels good and we like that. And then we take one step and we fall, and then people pick us back up, and again they hug us and say, good job. But as we get older in life, somewhere along the line, we move from this encouragement and this belief of that there's no such thing as failure to a belief that there is failure. Imagine how many of us would have learned to walk if, when we stood and fell or took a step and fell, we were told, you idiot, how come you did that? Don't you know better? How come you can't do this? And we were punished or belittled in some way. We probably would have quit trying. But because we had that encouragement and we didn't have a belief that, there was such thing as a failure, we just saw all of it as progress. And that's really what life is all about. There is no such thing as failure. I mean, the only failure really is if we quit. But as long as we keep trying, there is no failure. Any new skill that we want to obtain, we're going to have to go through that learning process. With that information and that wake-up call, I was like, okay, so I just need to persist. And I need to not focus so much on the difficulty that I'm going to go through. I need to stay focused on what is it that I want to do. You know what? I want to learn how to do this. Can I learn how to do it? I know that I can, because I can look back in my life on everything that I have learned. That's one way to overcome obstacles, is if I have a belief that I can't do it, that I can't learn it, I can look back on my life and I can identify all of the hundreds of things that I have learned to do, which tells me that I have a brain, I have the ability to learn from mistakes, to then change things up and try something different. And as long as I keep working at it, I'll accomplish it. So I recommitted to playing the piano. Again, I'm not perfect on that, and I haven't yet set a specific goal of how many times I'm going to practice. I went several days with no practice when I had kind of decided, this is going to be too hard. I practiced for 30 minutes on the 25th of February, and then I had it as a goal to practice again on the 26th. That's the day I fell asleep. I didn't practice that night. I didn't practice on the 27th, but I did practice again last night on the 28th. So I practiced for 30 minutes. And my goal is that I will practice 2 to 3 times a week minimum. And I know that if I do that, that as this year goes by, my skill in playing the piano will increase. What is really difficult for me to do right now will become easier. And I know that's true for each one of us. So again, if one of your obstacles is the belief that you can't do it, that you can't learn it, just know that that isn't true. You've got evidence in your life that you are capable of learning, and you have learned many, many things that you're able to do now in your life that you don't even have to think about it. It's in the subconscious part of your brain, and now you just do it. So stay committed, know that you can do anything that you put your mind to, and go out and do it. Thanks for watching today. Again, I'd encourage you to comment below if you have had experiences of where your belief about you not being able to do something has stopped you. You want to share that with us. But also, if you've had experiences where you've had that belief but you pushed through and you've actually shown that you can do it, then share those experiences with us as well. So make sure you subscribe to our channel, visit our website, principlebasedliving.com, and if you're watching this on LinkedIn, make sure and follow me here.